So, let's talk about strong female characters.
Why are we still here?
Bitch! Now, I'm gonna be mostly focusing on games, but sometimes I can dip my toes in other mediums, but let's talk about girls and women in fiction. For years, there's been an ongoing discussion when it comes to female characters, as well as strong female characters. Funnily enough, much like the dreaded mare su, there isn't a designated definition of a strong female character. It can describe characters with powerful physical abilities, or the quality of a character's inner life and their relative importance to the story. And we all know how I ranted about Mary Sue's back at the beginning of the year. Had to upload that video twice. Thanks, YouTube. Love you. But today, I want to talk about female characters in general because despite the fact that we've got a ton of amazing female characters, both as support and lead roles, I have to admit that there are some times where I just have to go,
you can't keep blaming me and everybody for everything wrong in your life. It's so not fair.
I gotta blame somebody, otherwise it's all my fault. Fuck that.
So let's start off with what I believe makes a strong female character. And it's not because a character can beat someone else up. When it comes to strong female characters, it's a preference of how they're written, at least to how I feel. While yes, they can be strong physically, if all they really got is the ability to look cool and badass and beat up the bad guys and sometimes good guys, that doesn't really make them a compelling character to me. I think one of the best examples of a female character that I don't really like is Jill Valentine. No, not the original badass character, but the one from the Resident Evil 3 remake. You see, part of the appeal of Jill Valentine back in the original Resident Evil 3 was that she had this little thing called development. Throughout the game, she's being chased by this nigh unstoppable creature called Nemesis. She reacts to it like anyone would, with fear, and after watching her friend being killed by this monstrosity, it helps solidify the threat. And as you proceed throughout the game, as Jill gets more equipment and learns how to deal with the monster, it leads to a very satisfying conclusion when you kill Nemesis.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
Meanwhile, in the remake...
Next time, take the fucking hit!
Well, this sucks.
Seriously, who the hell thought this was a better line? I think it's obvious that I've got issues. Issues with the Resident Evil 3 remake, but that doesn't mean that it's my only example of issues of writing with women. I actually want to take a quick look at Persona 5. What? I've been critical of the game before. Just because I like something, that doesn't mean I can't have issues with it. And I want to stress, I don't think the character I'm talking about is a bad character. Far from it. We're specifically talking about the writing. Let's talk about Anne Takamaki, and more specifically, her social link system, and how it tends to be a bit of a mess. The confidant starts with Anne wanting to improve the strength of her heart, not just so she can be a much better phantom thief of heart and persona user, but also so she can be an inspiration to her friend Shiho, which for context's sake attempted to commit suicide at the earlier part of the game. Spoilers, but it's the first part of the game, so sue me, I guess. It's a good start and idea for the character, and the beginning few aspects do a good job of fleshing out her personality outside the main story, but as you progress through the social link, Anne's modeling career and modeling rival begin to take over the story. It takes away from the more interesting aspects of Anne's character and story, and muddles the focus. It's not bad per se, but it really takes away from the more interesting bits involving her and what she can do in order to support her friend. On the other hand, I do find Anne to be a pretty good character in the main game, mostly because we get to see her and the rest of the group go through different situations, with her highlights during the more lighthearted scenes.
No complaining.
Anne is a well-rounded character, but has a bit of a weak writing due to a lack of focus. Now, if you really want to see some vitriol when I talk about female characters, well...
The most patient man in the world. Please, Chloe! Please! I
don't normally use this word, but cringe. While I have a much more extensive video about that on the channel, Chloe is one of the best examples of how not to write a female character, in my humble opinion. But Kamen, she's a teenager. She's 19! Last time I checked, that's over the age of adulthood. And besides, just because you point to someone's age, that doesn't mean what they can do makes them likable. To not do my long video justice, the reason why Chloe's a terrible female character is that while she is a terrible person, the game expects you to like her. While there are a lot of examples, let's compress them into one specific quality. Chloe is a selfish and terrible friend who gets jealous if she sees Max with anyone else and gaslights and guilt trips her throughout the entire game. Here are some examples. She gets mad at Max for answering her phone, when she could answer the phone on the way to their car.
You don't call me once in 5 years and now you're all over some biatch you see every day at school? I see how you roll. So go ahead, chat up Kate Marsh from Blackwell. I've got other people to hang out with too.
You need to stop being such a bitch!
She holds a grudge over Max abandoning her when they were 13. This is despite the fact that Max's parents moving to town, so Max had to come with them. She is ungrateful for Max for saving her life 3 times. There's a lot more to it, and if you want a more detailed explanation of why I think this, you should check my video out, link in description. Shill. I'm sorry I don't like this character or the toxic relationship she has with Max. She's a very selfish character, who despite her admitting that she is selfish, never actually changes for the better until the very end. With a binary choice. No, I won't let that go! Despite all of the above, the game always takes her side and considers her to be so great that you have the option to sacrifice an entire town to save her. Which doesn't even matter. Even if you want to say that Chloe does repent, the game and its creators decided to throw that out the window and into the trash. There is a lot wrong with this game and, well, basically the entire series, and I know there's going to be some people who will look towards Before the Storm as to explain Chloe's bad attitude, and my response to that is,
players' decisions will play a big role in determining exactly what their relationship is like and what kind of an impact Rachel's going to have.
Oh, Price. That was epic! You distracted her just long enough for me to slip those pills into her tea. I did.
Tell me about this!
I've already got you covered. But I've been mostly negative in this video.
All you ever do is complain. You never try to make things better.
So let's talk about what I think makes a good female character. For me, and not just female characters, but I prefer characters that actually have this magical word, development. Shock of all shocks, I know. I actually want to see the path of how a character can grow from nothing but gain their power through hard work and dealing with conflicts, as well as how they react to any situation. And there could be a ton of characters that certainly fit the bill. Celeste from the game with the same name, Clementine from the Walking Dead series, but let's talk about 2 in particular since there's quite a variety. Naoto from Persona 4, and Mae from Night in the Woods. Now here's a girl with blue hair that I can actually respect. Not like...
Jesus, I shot myself!
At the very least, Naoto knows how to actually use a gun. Naoto Shirogane is from a long line of famous detectives, and is extremely passionate about the craft. She even has a small badge from a detective anime that she used to watch that she carried all the time when she was younger. However, she knows from how her police peers treat her personally, as well as how the media and fiction like to depict detectives, that girls don't fit the idealized image of what a detective should be. She's not a hard-boiled older man, but she desperately wishes she could be so she could be seen as an equal rather than be belittled. It's part of the reason why she has the nickname the Detective Prince. Her issues revolve around not only her gender, but also her age. And despite these issues, Naoto is still quite competent. Hell, she's probably the most competent character in the entire game of Persona 4 outside Yu Narukami being controlled by the player with a strategy guide. This results with her cross-dressing, as she struggles with her body being the way it is. Naoto feels like she's living in the wrong body, not because she realized it independently, but because of societal expectations and the discrimination that comes from not meeting those expectations.
My sex doesn't fit my ideal image of a detective. Besides, the police department is a male-oriented society. If they had the slightest concrete reason to look down on me, no one would need me anymore.
Naoto adopts the facade of a male because she doesn't want to be looked down on in the workplace for being underage and a woman in what is traditionally perceived as a man's job. When you face her Shadow Naoto heavily implies that the body alteration process she threatens Naoto with is a sex change. But that's misleading. Naoto may want to be a man, but that's only due to sociological reasons rather than self-identifying ones.
What I should yearn for, no. What I must strive for, isn't to become a man. It's to accept myself for who I really am.
It's a complicated issue that, without the nuance, can be very offensive, and even with it, her character is facing plenty of criticism, as well as a lot of people who will often misinterpret her character, as well as ignore what's actually being said in the game. I think Naoto's writing for her character is top-notch. You can really see that her desire to become a detective is adapted into her personality and acts as most mature out of the main group. But like a great character, Naoto has many other sides to her that you can see. She's a teenager with the title of the Detective Prince on her shoulders. Naoto's the kind of character who also delivers a somewhat long-winded exposition explaining the situation, but it makes sense because it's not like she's flaunting her own intelligence, always proving her capacity. She's not perfect. She's got her insecurities that you can help her with throughout her social link. Persona 4 tackles many subjects in relation to truth, and I think that Naoto is a character that best encapsulates it. From hiding your true self with a lie to appear to be better for society, how the media and fiction presents a true ideal, and even superficially with her being a detective looking through the truth in a murder mystery. It's a good game that I can't recommend enough, and there's plenty of good characters in it that pretty much can be used on this list or pretty good character writing. Hell, if this was about guys, I'd talk about kanji. But let's talk about Night in the Woods. It's a fun little game where you play as Mae, a 20-year-old college dropout returning to her hometown in hopes of recovering, hoping to take solace in a familiar location so she can return to a simpler time. However, Mae quickly learns that just because something you relied on as a youngster, that doesn't mean it'll stay the same forever. The town's evolved since she went to college, as have her friends, and she soon realizes that her journey for improvement will have more work ahead other than moving into her parents' attic. And here's the thing. Mae's a strong female character because she's got a flawed personality and a lot of personal struggles. She has a troubled past peppered with depression and anger issues, but the character is charming enough that you can't help but root for her. In high school, Mae caused an incident involving a classmate, leaving her with a bad reputation in town and with her parents now in financial instability. However, she is fully aware of her flaws, even at one time referring to herself as a jerk. And throughout the game, Mae makes a genuine effort to better herself. Unsuccessfully, mind you, but she was making an effort and she grows more compassionate as the story unfolds, comforting people who question their own self-worth. And as you play through the game, you can choose to hang out with her friends. For me, I usually chose Bae, mainly because I happen to like goth girls. Ugh, not that one! Getting back to my point, you can see there's a beautiful sisterhood developing between the two characters. Not through blood, obviously, but because the two can connect with each other and learning about each other's hardships, gaining that compassion with each other. Mae also learns how to be more open about her own problems and discuss them with her loved ones. She's far from being the moral compass of the game, but this is exactly what makes her so relatable and at the same time one of the best female characters that I've played as. And there are plenty of other female characters that I want to bring up in this. Like, I want to bring up the boss from Metal Gear Solid, but the fact there's so much context necessary to explain the character and the motivations, it would require me to make a much bigger video than this one would allow me to. But hey, if you guys are interested, just let me know. I would love to talk about Metal Gear Solid 3. Look, at the end of the day, there are a lot of female characters that I respect. And in all honesty, what I prefer to see in women characters, or characters in general, is for them to go through their trials and tribulations, confront whatever flaws they have, and ultimately grow from them and become stronger people. Guys, gals, all those in between, they deserve to be represented respectfully in the writing, and sometimes they'll have to go through things that may get them hurt. But that's life. Life isn't perfect. Neither should our characters be. And when you only have a strong woman who don't need no man, that's not a compelling character. That's just boring. But hey, that's just one dude on the internet's opinion. What's yours? Let me know down below. I'm MangaKamen, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.